Look, there's been a lot of hubbub about the new Spider-Man movie for Spider-Man Brand New Day, thinking different characters could be this and that. I figured it's time to put my ring in the hat and kind of just put my foot down. Just in case if you've been living under a rock, just a quick little recap. A lot of people are giving a lot of discourse online talking about, oh, the Jackal might be in it, Sadie Sink playing Jean Grey and stuff, and I don't see that being the case at all, honestly. Looking into it more, I think I have a better prediction for what it's going to be. Time and time again, different people, Tom Holland and Kevin Feige and a couple others, have said that this movie is going to be a lot more of a mystery, and Spider-Man's going to be very confused of what's going on in the whole movie. And I think I've started to crack the case and stuff and kind of connect some of the dots for what's going to happen in this movie, because there just seems to be a lot of moving pieces around in this movie, from the Punisher being in it to the Hand to Scorpion and a bunch of other rogues gallery. I think obviously some of it is just very surface level and stuff. For example, Boomerang and Tarantula being in it, I think they're much more of just kind of like the villain of the day or villain of the week kind of situation and a little bit of a montage. However, with all these other sorts of things happening in the trailer, from people talking and stuff, jumping, like there seems to be a little bit of like telepathy or like weird little mind boggling stuff going on, where Spider-Man's looking around and people are just giving him the heebie jeebies talking and all that stuff. I honestly don't think that's coming from a terms like a powers like Jean Grey, like mind control. I think it's coming more from inside of Spider-Man, or at least I think I know who Sadie Sink truly is. So I think she's playing a little more of an unknown villain. I think she's gonna be playing Spider Queen, which is, if you don't know, Spider Queen is. I mean, I had to look it up because it's been a character I wasn't as familiar with. She's kind of a villain that really fits the book and kind of dots a lot of the questions I have about the trailers, from all the random telepathy and different kind of forces being applied in the trailer. Like I think there's one part in the trailer that like a giant almost like explosion happens, but it looks like it's kind of like a telepathic explosion. Uh Spider's Queen's powers include some telepathy and also like a sonic scream and stuff, and being able to control people with this spider virus. And I think that could potentially lead for a much more interesting movie uh, that also involves Bruce Banner a lot more in it, where they start to notice that a lot of these people have the spider virus and stuff, as they say. Like I looked it up on the wiki. They say on the wiki it's like a third of the people have the spider virus and stuff, and it's just dormant, and that the Spider Queen is able to take control of them. I think that either she is taking control of them or she's taking control of Spider Man's mind and stuff, because she's clearly able to read his mind. As they say, like, oh, let's go talk to MJ and stuff, and he goes rushes off to MJ. But however, we also got in another part of the trailer where it seems to be the Department of Damage Control. Uh, Seems to be saying, "Oh, you're the only one that she can't control and stuff, or like this person can't control." And I don't understand how that could make any sense. And I mean, they say in the comics that because Spider-Man's a lot more resilient, he's able to resist it, but that doesn't mean that he can't not, be read or anything through like these telepathy powers. I think that just makes so much more sense. And also it involves all Spider-Man characters and stuff, and it just to shoehorn in just a singular X-Men and stuff just does not make much sense and stuff. Like Jean Grey, really? Is that what we're going with? Anyway, just to kind of, I want to put down my predictions and stuff, just to kind of lay down the land and stuff, and see, come back to this in about a month and be like, oh, I called it and stuff. But anyway, I think this is how it's gonna go. I think Spider Queen does have a history of working with military and stuff. She's what they say she like has military training and stuff online and stuff. But anyway, Spider Queen could be the one kind of manipulating things behind the scene and stuff, where she's kind of having some of the rogues gallery and stuff, because we haven't seen certain characters and stuff. Like we know Tombstone's in the movie. Like I like you go to Walmart and you can see on the Lego shelves it has Tombstone in the movie. So clearly this is a character that does not have big enough of a role in the movie where they're willing to spoil that and stuff. Because I mean, Marvel is keeping their cards close to their chest and stuff, closer than I keep my poker cards in a game, close to my chest. I mean, uh, they are not letting anything spill from this movie, and honestly, it's amazing how much has not gone out of it. Because I don't think we've truly seen the main villain of this movie. I mean, yeah, we've seen Scorpion and stuff, and I think he's a really cool addition and stuff. And I mean, uh, I would love to see uh maybe kind of Scorpion take over as the Venom role and stuff in the MCU and stuff, since we've already kind of gotten the Venom movies and stuff. And those are uh to put it nicely bad. And then we've already seen like an Eddie Brock Venom and stuff. So to kind of do something different and unique, I think it would be interesting to do the Scorpion Venomized Mark, what's his name? Like Mark uh Scorpion, the Venomized Scorpion. I think that could be cool. And obviously not like Scorpion with the suit and then I'm also Venomized, just kind of like Scorpion being so like brutally disfigured and injured and stuff after events. I mean, like you see him just absolutely get destroyed by a car in this movie. So I can't see him being able to move well after 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 that scene. So for him to kind of get the symbiote at some point would make so much sense and rely on his dependency to this like the symbiote and stuff and have kind of like a vendetta against Spider-Man because, without the symbiote and stuff, Scorpion would just be completely like not able to move. Like if they paralyze him or something, like being like, oh my god, like and Peter's like, oh my gosh, I've gone too far. I think that could be really cool. But anyway, to kind of like get back to the original thing without getting on a tangent, he's helping out with the Punisher and stuff at one point, and I think there being random military convoys and stuff are very interesting, and I'm not sure what that has to kind of do if anything. It doesn't seem like they're transporting someone at that point in the movie. Like, you see him rip the cap off and it's just like an old lady or something like that there. So it seems to be that at some point someone is controlling someone within those tanks and stuff and has access to military resources and stuff. So Jean Grey having that like military resources just doesn't make much sense. And it also just doesn't set her up to be uh, a good person for future movies. It's like, okay, you were over here mind controlling grandma to drive a tank through Manhattan. And now we're supposed to like kind of cheer for you. Okay. Like I don't buy that at all. And while I don't think like they would be like wasting a great actor and stuff, like Sadie Sink's amazing, Stranger Things and stuff. But I just don't see them using Jean Grey as a character in this movie. But anyway, so Spider-Man's going around helping people and stuff, and he's helping the Punisher and stuff, and he's like, "Hey, you're kind of losing your balance, kid." Uh, and he's going around trying to figure it out. And I think throughout the movie we'll start to get visions and flashes and stuff of mutations going on. I mean, like you see him have like the he doesn't need the web shooters anymore, and he's got like the natural ones coming out of his arms and stuff, kind of like Tobey Maguire. I think we'll probably get visions of him. Like there's this one really off-putting scene in the trailer where he's just floating through the air and stuff without like a suit on. And I like every single scene in this movie looks super polished. And for this to one scene to kind of not look that polished makes me feel like it's supposed to give like an uncanny vibe, like this isn't real life. So I feel like this has to be like it's probably a dream sequence where we're gonna see flashes of what like how the mutation evolved and stuff, and we'll probably get a man spider tease at this point going this is how far it's gonna go, because I also just don't see them going the full man spider route and stuff similar to the 90s cartoon and stuff, just simply because that and live action would probably be generally horrifying and scare many many children out of the theater. And while this is a PG-13 movie and I'd love to see a man spider arc, I just don't imagine Marvel and Sony want to kill their moneymaker and stuff, scaring children. Spider-Man is a huge idol to children out of the movie theater and stuff. So I just don't see that happening. But however, them hinting at it or teasing at it makes a lot more sense where it's kind of more brief and sudden, where it's just, a single scary element. But anyway, so Spider-Man goes to Bruce Banner, Peter Parker goes to Bruce Banner and is like, hey, you're mutating and stuff. And uh this is where I get, a little questionable about this potential, like, Jean Grey like controlling things behind the scene. Like that makes no sense and stuff. Where I'm hearing people being like, "Oh yeah, Jean Grey's in this movie. Like, why would she be unleashing the Hulk? Like, that makes no sense. Like, for Jean Grey to be going, this, balls to the wall, like, manipulate people around Spider-Man, making him kind of going crazy, and then also like unleashing the Hulk, which is something that we haven't even seen since Infinity War. Like Hulk is, kind of been dormant since then. He kind of got his, he got his ass whooped by Thanos, and then has refusing to appear in almost like what 8 years or something, 7 years at this point now. Someone more like Spider Queen to be, manipulating things behind the scene, and I don't think that Spider Queen might not be doing it alone. It seems to be, that they're kind of pulling from, some of these comics like the Other and stuff, and with Bruce Banner working at a university now, I could definitely see, them also kind of having a side, two main villains basically, kind of like we got, Spider Queen, who's kind of mainly, doing things behind the scene, but then also like, I could see them having Jackal in it and stuff, but not as kind of like, the main villain, but more of like the supporting villain, like the main supporting villain stuff that they haven't shown. Because I think that could be really interesting to where, maybe they set up like the Clone Saga and stuff. But, uh, if they're not going to do that, I just don't think that Jackal in this movie would make much sense. Anyway, kind of just to get back to the main point stuff, I don't see Jean Grey being in this movie. It doesn't make much sense. I think she's probably more of Spider Queen or something like that. That could be interesting, and then also sets up a lot more potential for, they do like their big CGI monsters and their big CGI battles and stuff in these Spider-Man movies and stuff. Far From Home, had a big CGI monster and stuff in it, and them doing the transformation and stuff to have like the giant Spider Queen monster and stuff could be, something interesting and stuff. And maybe they have, Peter, being almost fully mutated and stuff. Maybe he's got, the six arms or something, or the heightened spider sense. That could explain also who's leading the hand, like the hands in this movie, like, which is so random and stuff. And I mean, it's interesting and stuff because they're in the prison and stuff, and I could see Peter about to just absolutely lose it on the hand, with whoever's leading that fight and stuff, and then Daredevil just comes in and stops him and stuff. Like I don't think we're gonna get Daredevil suiting up in this movie. That would be cool. However, with the end of Born Again season 2, I just don't see them, breaking Daredevil out and then him just, willingly going back in or something to the prison. So I could see him at most, having a little more of a role in stopping Spider-Man from going too far in the prison and stuff, because I could see, Punisher kind of being like the reality check of, hey, you this isn't who you are and stuff. Like you gotta slow it down. And then, Bruce Banner kind of being like, hey, this is what's going on with you from a more like, mutated level. And then, Daredevil kind of gives him that guidance of, hey, this is how to kind of don't forget who you are and stuff. In a different way, like kind of like reinforcing what the Punisher says, because it seems to be that Punisher is, in this movie a lot. Like there's multiple scenes and stuff. I'm spinning my wheels, but yeah, I don't see, uh, you know, certain things in this movie happening, and I'm kind of just laying out my predictions and stuff for this movie, as I think, uh, it doesn't make much sense for Jean Grey to be in this movie. That's kind of where my main point was in this this whole video. I've been rambling long enough. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Anyway, for me to start rambling on my gaming channel and stuff, I think I might just turn this channel into more of whatever I wanted, where I might ramble a little bit, or I might make a let's play and stuff. But if you like this video and like me talking more about, random movies and comic books, different things. So let me know down below. Anyway, yep, that's it.